My name is Carrie Albright, and I'm here to speak to you about a therapy called speech entrainment. This therapy is specifically geared towards people with aphasia. Now, fluent speech production appears to rely on connectivity between the anterior and posterior speech regions of the brain. And a stroke, well, that would have a negative effect on the connectivity. Considerable evidence suggests that maladaptive alterations in the brain following a stroke can hinder rehabilitation. Now, speech entrainment, this is the online imitation of an audio-visual speech model, and it has been demonstrated to improve speech fluency in patients with non-fluent aphasia. One possible explanation for why speech entrainment enhances speech output is because it synchronizes the functional connections between the anterior and posterior language regions, so they can be more comparable to that of the neurotypical speakers. Now, during the rehabilitation, these individuals are attempting to do a task that is naturally very challenging for them. They are attempting to speak. But what if we just performed treatment by having them watch and listen to a speaker in an effort to engage the leftover areas in their left frontal lobe, as opposed to requiring them to work on something that's extremely frustrating and challenging? Now, if I simply slowed down my speech a little bit, you would be able to imitate me in real time. This is another extremely intriguing aspect of audiovisual speech, which is what we refer to when you observe the articulators very carefully and listen at the same time. There's no magic involved. Even though there would be a few hundred milliseconds of a delay, you could actually speak to everything that I'm saying at the same moment. I'm not referring to speaking again. No, really what I mean to say is that you pronounce my words exactly at the same moment as I do. The fact that people with non-fluent speech may imitate this type of speech, even though they can only utter a few words or possibly one or two at a time, it's highly intriguing. So what I want to show you first is an example of a person with a severe expressive language delay and how they sound before the use of the speech entrainment therapy. Let's have a look.
Listen.
Try to say what you can about eggs.
Eggs. Eggs. But
I like
to
to.
eat eggs. Oh, I know what it is.
I like to eat eggs.
And
You could clearly hear on that video that the client had very limited speech capabilities. So next, what I want to show you is actually what happens if he tries to speak with this kind of audio-visual feedback. Now, there are a couple of things that I want to point out to you. What he's looking down at here is an iPhone, and there is an iPhone on the table, and what he sees on that iPhone is what we call the audio-visual speech model. And that's what you see in the lower left corner, that the person is going to talk. It was, a matter of fact, that person is going to talk about what he was trying to describe before, how you can make scrambled eggs. But in addition to watching, he's also listening through the headphones on the iPhone. I suggest that during the whole time that we listen to the video, that you focus on your visual attention, that you focus your visual attention on the speech model. Okay, so let's give this just a little listen to see the improvement.
I like to eat scrambled eggs for breakfast. I like them
because they are fast and easy to make eggs and knit out in pan and melt some butter over medium heat. And crack the eggs into the pan and I like scrambled eggs best. No, I until they are done.
Well, that was a major improvement. In that second video, we can really see how the functionality and the connectivity had a great improvement while utilizing the speech entrainment therapy. Now, the study that I used for this was called Speech Entrainment Improves Connectivity Between Anterior and Posterior Cortical Speech Areas in Non-Fluent Aphasia. Now, within this study, we had 24 individuals, 5 women, with chronic Broca's aphasia due to a single event in the left hemisphere stroke were studied. Now, the main goal of this study was to compare functional connectivity during speech entrainment and free speech in a group of people with aphasia and a group of people with normal brain function controls. Also, regression models that predicted language scores during free speech had more connections than those that predicted language scores during speech entrainment. Now, this suggests that the connectivity during free speech is more likely to be a significant predictor of language scores than connectivity during speech entrainment. But the results between connectivity and behavior show some promising signs that left hemisphere anterior posterior synchrony can get better when doing an audiovisual task. Now, the results show that when speech entrainment is present, people with non-fluent aphasia not only improve their behavior as measured by more fluent speech, but also their neurophysiology as shown by neural synchrony that is more like that of a neurotypical control group. Improved synchrony as measured by the functional connectivity suggests that practicing with an audiovisual aid may make it easier for atypical post-stroke connections, especially between residual left hemisphere regions of interest, so they can talk to each other better. One of the things that I would give my opinion on when evaluating this specific study is having the benefit of working with an aphasia client. One of the things that I kind of learned is they can easily just repeat words. They can easily recite things that they learned in kindergarten, songs like Somewhere Over the Rainbow. They can really get lyrics and things like that out pretty well. So if I'm working with an aphasia client and I go say celery and they say celery, um, they're not really using all parts of the brain. They're just repeating. So even though I do think there's a lot of functional connectivity that clearly is happening, and due to the brain plasticity, doing a lot of kind of like workarounds the ischemic tissue, I can see how that can better it. But at the same time, is speech entrainment just a very, very fast version of repeating a word. Like I, can, be. So even though I think this study is very promising, and I think that it is something that they can go forward with, I do think that there's a lot more studies that need to be done on it, especially with neuroimaging. And that's it. So thanks for coming to my talk. Bye.